Hi guys, in today's video we're going to take you through 5 steps to get into the property market this year. In our last episode we went through a situation with AB South where he had a lot of different decisions that he needed to make and a lot of different opportunities, meaning different pathways he could actually take. What we really delineated and got from that conversation was really that he had 2 main options. He could either be a first home buyer, so buy his first home, or he could be a rent investor. Now, buying your first home, you obviously are buying in the city where you want to live in. You are governed obviously by your borrowing capacity. So it might mean that you don't get the white picket fence and the 4-bed, 2-bath, 2-car house that we always dream about as kids growing up. But that's one decision he could make, or he could become a rent investor, which means he could continue to rent and live where he wants to live and invest in the market confidently and start to build his property portfolio over time. So that's the first decision you need to make if you haven't entered the market just yet. Do you want to be a first home buyer or a rent investor? Now on to step 2, figuring out your borrowing capacity. This is really important as it dictates what you can afford and where you can afford to buy. Okay, this is not something that I do with you. It's something I can help you with, but you will definitely need a licensed broker to run you through your options when it comes to this step. So if you're a first home buyer or a rent investor, your next step is to sit down with a mortgage broker and understand how much you can borrow for either of those outcomes. Now on to step 3. This is building your portfolio. Now, whether or not you have grand plans to build a large property portfolio, it really comes down to your first decision, okay? As a first home buyer, I absolutely believe that this is part of your portfolio and can form the basis of a fantastic property portfolio if done correctly. Reason being is that you have a tax-free asset, okay? And that's really important to know. If you're a rent investor, it's equally as important to get things right because you want to be able to use this as a leverage point to then either buy your first home or buy another investment property further down the line. So again, in this step, we're figuring out your portfolio plan and how that fits into your life moving forward. Now we're on to step 4, which is buying the right property. Now this is where a lot of people trip over, okay? You're almost at the finish line, even though a lot of people think that they're just starting out, but you are almost there, okay? You've figured out what you want to do, figured out your borrowing capacity, and you figured out how this fits in your plan moving forward. Buying the right property is about typically sticking to what we call blue chip suburbs. Now there's suburbs within around 20 kilometres of any of the major cap cities across Australia, namely Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and sometimes the Gold Coast. So figuring out that is where you need to buy to be able to participate in capital growth of a regular nature is really important. Now, what does that look like for a rent investor? Well, it means that you can go to any of those cities and actually secure property that is of blue chip caliber. If you're a first home buyer, then you're looking at these different opportunities. You might have to sacrifice a few things to be able to get your first home in a blue chip area in the city that you live in, because your borrowing capacity might be a little bit lower, but that's okay because you're still looking at the future growth of the property because it will always fit into your portfolio plan. Now, if you really need help with this, and most people do, I think it's very beneficial to sit down with a professional to figure out the next steps on where to buy and why. Now on to step 5. Step 5, we're talking about holding costs. Okay, it's all about how much these things are going to cost to maintain. So for an owner-occupier, if you're living in a blue chip suburb, anywhere in the cap cities that I've just mentioned before, it's likely going to cost you somewhere around $1,000 a week to hold on to, depending on your personal circumstances. $1,000 a week would be probably a minimum, depending on interest rates and savings, obviously. If you're looking at a rent investor and you've invested into a property, a good one, it's going to cost you anywhere between $50 to $100 a week. That's with today's interest rates. So importantly, making sure that you get step one right and knowing whether or not you want to be an investor or an owner-occupier, that will heavily dictate what step 5 is going to look like for you. So in conclusion, you can see that there are 5 quick steps and easy sort of steps that you can take to figure out whether you're a rent investor or a first home buyer, firstly, and then to figure out your borrowing capacity, and then to go ahead and build a portfolio plan, and then to buy the right property and hold it. Okay. Clearly there's a whole lot of other things that are at play here, like interest rates, borrowing capacity that is individual to you, entity structuring, where you're going to buy, how, market timing. There's a whole laundry list of items that I haven't discussed today that might be on your mind as well, which might be stopping you from making that decision. If this is you and you're sitting there going, but John hasn't answered this, that's fine. I'd absolutely invite you to leave a comment below or pick up the phone, have a conversation. There's much more value that I can add to anyone's circumstances, so I'm more than happy to answer those questions if they do come my way. So again, thank you for listening and taking the time. I look forward to speaking with you soon.